evening. Good evening. It is Monday night's Plastic Crack podcast, if I can get it in my mouth. Season 4, episode 14. Crikey, I still can't believe we're into a season 4. Ridiculous. We are a couple of men light, but definitely one in the positive column for tonight. Ken and Steve are unable to make it tonight, but as usual, Martin and myself here. And we're joined by Alan from Perry Miniatures.
Yeah.
Hi, Alan. How are you doing?
All right. Can you hear me?
Can hear you loud and clear. There is a little delay on your internet, I think, but hopefully it'll hold up. That's fine. Good stuff. Really good to have you back on. I think this is your third time coming on here, which is just shows you can't. We keep fooling you into coming on, and you still keep saying yes, which is just extraordinary.
Yeah, it's probably my second time. Michael went on last time, so yeah, we're
splitting the goodness now, are we? That's what it is. Yeah, rumours that Steve isn't here because he's been doing the Huey model are exaggerated. He's just had a really tough week. So let me just say hello to a few folks in the comments. Thanks for everyone who's joining us tonight. And thanks to everybody doing a catch-up. Really appreciate everybody. And a reminder, just before we go into it, that we are sponsored by Boards and Swords in Derby, home of CrackCon. And reminder, if you go onto their wonderful website and do any mail order, use the PCP5 code and you get a discount on everything they do on top of the discount they already do. So lots of familiar faces in the chat. So welcome to Louis. I can see Louis Baby, Lazy Pirate Painting, Ham and Jam, Battle Matt, Steve Harbour, Paul's here, John, 999 Payden. We got Rich, we got Don. I shouldn't have started this, should I?
No, I was about to say you've only got 90 more to go. You know?
I know. There's a lot of people in the chat, so welcome everybody. I was just to see if anybody. A reminder: if you've got any questions for Alan, please put them in the chat, and we'll do our very best to get him to hold him down and get him to tell you all the secrets of what's coming down the line in the Perry world. Because I know we're always want to know. Everybody wants to know when's this coming and when's that coming and when are we going to be doing that. So we've got Joseph. We'll say hello to Joseph from sunny North Carolina. Blimey. Actually, it's been quite sunny here in between the rain showers, but it's been nice.
Sunny.
Every so often,
in between the horrific weather, it's been
yeah, it's been lovely. So anyway, let's get going. Yeah, blimey, look at this. I'm just trying to pick up some names from the chat of people we haven't seen before, but there's loads. Actually, we'll come back to that. Alan, thank you once again for coming on. I really, really appreciate it. So. You sent me some pictures of some of the stuff you've been up to recently, so I thought that would be a really good starting point because we all love the eye candy that you put up on your Facebook page and on the newsletter and everything else. So I thought I'd start with this campaign that you've been playing out. So
yeah,
oh, wow,
this is a Peninsula War campaign. That I started running about, I think January actually, and these are the pictures actually from the battles that we've had so far. There's been about 7 battles now, and I'm sure there'll be a few more. It's an ongoing campaign. We've got a lot of people involved.
Yeah,
and we basically do it by email. I have a map with pins in and called pins with flags, which is the easiest thing to do actually, I find. And when it comes to battle, when forces actually connect, you have a battle.
Yeah,
but you only know on the campaign where people are if your scouts see them, or if ADCs come back and tell you where they are, or we get messages from the other your friends in the campaign. So there's a lot of fog of war.
Which is always fun.
Completely.
A fog of war is always fun in any kind of game, isn't it? Because that's when the really silly things happen and the exciting things happen.
Oh yeah, indeed. There's so many battles which nearly happened and just the forces just miss because they just missed them by I don't know, a couple of miles or something.
And do you find that because you play a lot, you play a lot of games with your brother and also with Rich and other people come over? We see all the pictures of it. Do you find that everybody plays out to their sort of their stereotypes, how they always play?
Yeah.
Who's the most aggressive out of the team? And
who is the most aggressive?
Yeah, who's the most aggressive out of you lot?
Well, funny enough, it does play out to characters, their own characters. Yeah, as you say. Some people are really going to get stuck in, others more cautious, and that comes through on the campaign completely.
Yeah.
Others don't want to force march the troops, and don't want to wear them out. Some don't care about the troops; they just force march everywhere, and they'll leave a trail of sort of injured people there. have to catch up or do stop and reorder the troops. So yeah, it does. Characters do come through, definitely.
And how do you maintain the enthusiasm? Sorry, Martin. Yeah,
no, Karen, no. I think
the thing always happens when we run campaigns. It always seems like when it starts to fizzle out is when one side's not doing so well, or they just sort of lose a bit of interest. I mean, how do you keep that going with your campaigns?
Well, the good thing about the campaign is that nobody knows what's going on.
So sneaky.
Well, no, they do. I mean, you get a general feel of what's going on, especially in your area. And you also get rumours coming in and spies telling you, and ADCs coming from the other side of the board saying what's happened over there. But it's a gradual thing, and it's not all immediate. So at the time, you're concentrating on what's around you, which is usually something happening. Luckily, this particular campaign started that way, where everybody involved was actually fighting within about 3 days of the start of the campaign. Just so happened that everybody met,
right,
and then crunched, and then fell back, and now there's a bit of a pursuit and that sort of stuff. And it's been really good. I think everybody's had at least 1 or 2 battles. It's pretty good for a campaign.
Cool.
You still there, Martin?
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Can you hear me,
Martin? I can hear you. I think Martin.
Oh,
Martin, can you hear
gone.
us? Martin's gone. Well, I can see him. You there, Martin?
You can see him.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought you were about to say something. That was all, and you then disappeared off us.
Did I? Oh, sorry. I'm not quite sure what happened then. No, I was just going to. What I was going to ask was obviously because you're senior, do you just have a set of campaign rules that because you play these quite a lot, these campaigns you see on your Facebook? Is it just a standard set of rules, or is it one that you come up with some rules each time you play a campaign, or do you just keep adapting ones that you've already come up with?
Well, they've evolved actually. The first I've done about 4 campaigns now, and Michael's done 1, and Jervis was the last one using my figures to do another campaign that we're all involved with as well. So the first 3 campaigns, the first one you sort of learning, and the second one is slightly better. Third one's better than that, and then hopefully this one is ironed out all little twiddly bits. But yeah, you just evolve with the homemade rules, and then just it has to be homemade because it's got to be the campaign's got to be simple to use for yourself. If you make it too complicated, you're dealing with about 10 to 12 people and their divisions. Each one's got a division, so you've got to keep it simple, otherwise your head gets fried.
That was going to be my next question, which is how many people have you got? Yeah.
Yeah, depending. Yeah, it's usually around about 10 or 12 is normal in campaign. Yeah, and each one has a division which is up to about maybe 30 units, something like that. Sorry, not 30. 20 units, something like that.
Wow, that's brilliant. That's awesome. And how do you? I mean, as you say, so you're managing that through a map system. Are you doing the logistics and and sort of casualty reconciliation and that sort of thing, or are you doing that?
Yeah, I'm doing that. I just happened to be on the table. This is after the last battle, Oh, don't think you can see it.
Oh yeah. I can see
So I
it
just mark them down like that. Casualties on the units, and then I do that on Photoshop and to send them a proper sort of little list. That's just my scribbled ones after the battle, and then I send the player sort of whose casualties they were in much clearer form.
Right.
I've just seen this comment. We don't need caution. We came for the fight in the after party.
Very true, Paul. Very true. And the other thing you sent a picture of, which I wanted to talk about, which I thought we talked about this on the stream a few weeks ago, actually, when they first went up for sale, is the Russian Ulans.
Oh yeah,
that you did. So
yeah, they're not for sale yet. They actually these will be up for sale at Salute.
Ah, cool. Excellent.
I only just painted these ones because I only just got the final sort of frames through sort of about a week ago, I think. So I would normally send them off to proper professional painters, but there wasn't any time. I didn't think I'd get anything back in time for Salute. So I was doing myself, really. Just for the cabinet. And just for when they sort of released.
They are pretty awesome, though. Really lovely.
I know there's a lot of people in the chat and in the group who have been looking forward to these.
That is awesome.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So salute for those. Brilliant. We shall all be queuing up.
Yeah, salute for those.
So it's because you also did, was it them or another one set that you did recently that had different arms that you could use on the previous Allied cavalry sets? Was that the one?
That's right. This set, the Allied cavalry, which is the Russian and Prussian cavalry, you can mix arms and things with. Well, the lance arms were given to them from this set, so you can make Prussian lancers, Prussian landwehr, a bit of mix and match. Quite a lot of mix and match actually you can do with these.
That's a really neat idea.
Also change the overalls.
Sorry, carry on.
You can change the legs as well, which means that you get the campaign overalls or the sort of more full dress overalls over with the two boxes because you have spares of them. And actually, in the Russian Lancers box, Ulan's box, you have enough lance arms for 24 figures. You only get 14 or 12 lancers actually in the box, but you've got an extra 12 to go on if you've got a spare bodies from the other box, which you will have.
Awesome.
Lance arms and sword and scabbards.
I think that's what I loved about that cavalry set, particularly, is the fact that there's so many variants that you can produce with that, which is fantastic. And is that something you're going to look to do with other kits as they come along, or is that just it so happened? I mean, they do look pretty similar, don't they? Most of the uniforms are fairly similar.
That's the thing. That's the thing with the horses for the first set, the Allied cavalry set. They're exactly the same as the Russian Lancers, the Russian Ulan set. So it was a no-brainer, really. Just the body frame and a frame for the arms and a command, and use the same horses.
Awesome.
Just saves a bit of money as well and time.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's great. I think that sort of ability, because people love the ability to personalize and change their figures to a degree, or kick bash them in some degree. Not as far as our mate Steve goes with some of your figures, which is frankly insulting, I think, turning them into turnips. But there you go. He loves his turnip 28, I'm afraid. So he does a lot.
No, they look really good. I didn't think it would work. I didn't think 14th century hound skulls on a Napoleonic uniform would actually work, but it does.
Don't encourage him, Alan, please. He doesn't need any encouragement at all. So the other thing I really wanted to talk a lot about, because it got me very excited, is your Ottoman range. So we talked about this a little while ago, that you brought out all these beautiful metal figures.
Well, it's been a conversation that we've had for quite a long time, especially on here, especially between me and Dom, which is about the Ottomans. So we were saying we've been waiting for a a big range. And I think we'd actually only been discussing it a couple of weeks before on the stream.
Yeah.
And then lo and behold, the news section 2 weeks later was just filled with pictures of Ottomans.
And everyone going, oh, God, here goes another period. So why the Ottomans and why now?
Well, I was waiting for the right books to come along, really.
Right.
There's lots of bits and pieces in different books, but there wasn't any one book or two books which had the information which sort of you needed, all the information. So, I mean, these are the books which came out in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
By.
Yeah.
I might have already received that within the post. It's a really good book.
Are you anticipating a project, Tom?
That might be happening at some point, Martin. That one's going to be a salute purchase because that looks really good as well. Yep, that looks awesome.
Yeah, it's. I mean, actually, it's got loads of information on organisation and tactics and everything else. Awesome. The other one's brilliant as well. I mean, the great pictures in there.
I know. I've been reading this chapter about the new model army within it, and I just thought because I knew a little bit about that, but not an awful lot.
New army.
Sorry, you said new model army, and I've been doing my ECW stuff recently.
Yeah, new order. Yeah, sorry, I meant to say new order army. That one. I
always get it wrong. Yeah.
It's a fascinating thing. I hadn't. I'd realised that the Janissaries objected to it quite strongly, and that was one of the reasons why it never really took off. But I didn't realise actually
that's right.
It was quite an effective force. The initial force that was built. It was really interesting.
Yeah, I mean they were properly trained and everything, but they were by 1897 they were squished. I think it's by the Janissary. I'm still learning about the Ottoman army. I sort of dived in. I normally look at things before I dive in, and I was thinking it's going to be probably quite a reasonably simple army to look at and go into, but it's not. It's quite fiddly.
No, it's hellishly complicated.
It's yes, it's not as straightforward as I thought it was going to be, but on the tabletop it will be.
Yes,
when you've got them all laid out and everything, it'll be fine. It's just just making them a little bit more good.
I think that's brilliant. I love the fact. I mean, I know when we've spoken to you before, it's kind of almost just passion projects with everything. So this was just almost like I just fancy doing an Ottoman army, and that's why you went for it, basically.
It's extremely colourful.
Yes,
it will be extremely colourful.
When we spoke last time, you were just about to release the War of the Triple Alliance stuff, and we were talking about that, and that was actually so yeah, it was just interesting to see another one of these kind of pop up.
I know, it's wonderful. And you sent me some pictures of some work in progress of the Ottomans. So let me show that.
Yeah, these are the normal, the Mamluk Cavalry and Spahi and Delhi. Just the start of them, just the mannequins. I'm just starting to work on, as well as the infantry, the normally irregular infantry, and I'll do the Bashir Bazooks at some point as well. But these are the normal Ottoman, generic Ottoman infantry at the moment.
Right.
There'll be quite a lot of variations.
As you say, it's going to be a really colourful army. That's what's going to be really nice about this. And I presume we're talking primarily metal figures for this range,
yes.
Are we? There won't be any plastics at
that
point.
I don't think so. I mean, you never know. But depends how popular it is. It's quite a good thing to do, actually, is test how range is with metals. And then if it is particularly popular, it's sometimes worth doing something in plastic as well.
I think this was something I think we touched on last time, and it'd be good because I know there's going to be loads of questions about when are you going to have a plastic this and when are we going to have our plastic that and everything else. Yeah. The economics of doing metal versus plastics is quite an interesting one, isn't it? You have to get so far into so many sales effectively to make it worth doing the plastics. That's correct.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Once you've got the ball rolling. And once you cover your costs with the plastics, it's fine. They're cheaper to produce really than metal. They are, but than metal. But metal are the other way around. They're cheap to get the overheads covered, but they're always going to be the same sort of price, sort of churning them out.
Mm-hmm.
And and you don't get any wear and tear on the mold in plastics if they're steel molds anyway. And Renedra only do steel molds.
Yeah, that's what I understood. So guys, it's really in your control. If you want plastic Ottomans, you just have to buy a lot of the metal ones, and then
Can't just rely on Dom buying them all in
I can only have one Ottoman army, I'm afraid. I mean, although actually, starting reading through that book, I realised, like you say, it's a very tangled web, and there's all sorts of armies, different provinces, different groups. It's actually a minefield. You could do 20 different armies of the Ottoman period. It's easily.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, this range will cover really from about 1790s up to, well, actually, I mean, up to 1815, but actually, the uniforms, the clothing would be probably right up into about 1826. 26, actually, some of the uniforms which were the New Order Army were using suddenly came back into vogue, that style. Weirdly, so some of the New Order army figures could be used for 1826 onwards.
Wow, that's interesting, isn't it? I wonder why that was, because as we said earlier, the whole project, if you like, was suppressed pretty much and stopped, and then the uniforms come back into favour later on. That's really odd, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite. I mean, as you can see, throughout the 19th century, they carry on the same sort of thing, the same sort of look, the sort of obviously baggy trousers, but the fairly simple tunic or short coat. So carries on at least into the 1850s, or early 1840s anyway.
Wow, awesome. So as well as the New Order Army and the Mamluks that you showed on the work in progress and everything else, is there any other plans that you have for the range yet, or is it still planning stage and not much beyond that?
It's all too new for that, really. Well, I mean, hopefully I'll cover everything. But
the artillery's got to be good, hasn't it?
Yeah, the artillery. I mean, they did use quite a lot of French guns and French some with their own tweaks, as well as their own guns and quite old guns as well, and some huge guns.
Yeah. Well, that's the ones I remember. When I've been to Istanbul, seen those massive cannons that are sitting in the walls. Extraordinary big things.
I mean, they're quite good. They'll be quite nice to do something like that for the range, but I'm not sure how often they were actually used.
No,
in combat in the field. No,
they were used to give the British fleet a bit of a smashing as they tried to break through the Dardanelles at one point.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is a novelty for any game, I have to say. Well, I thought it's really interesting because the Ottoman's army is without being getting a bit carried away with it as a period, but they can literally fight pretty much anybody, can't they? I mean, they had massive campaigns against the Russians, the Austrians, the British, the French. I mean, they pretty much everybody they had to go at. They weren't terribly successful, although they did inflict a defeat on the British and the French. So
they did. 1807 against British. That was quite an. I read an account which I've never seen anywhere before. Is not in an old book of a British fighting in 1807 against them, and forming squares. I think it's about 3 squares, and having to make the way in square about a mile or 2 miles back towards Alexandria actually, and they didn't make it. They were captured or killed, wounded, and they actually threw the hands up, and they were all captured.
Amazing. And I think they were all released later on as well, aren't they were all released as a sign of goodwill or something, because normally they would have been sold into slavery, but the Sultan decided he didn't want to antagonize the British any more than that. So it was enough to beat the English and release them for free afterwards, and then you're probably better off rest on your laurels. Awesome. I think it's fascinating. I would say you've opened a whole can of worms for me. I've been dipping into that book you showed, and I thought, oh my goodness.
Dipping into it sounds like you're on your third read.
Yeah. Well, it's funny how all these sort of stories you remember from, well, I was going to say from my childhood, but certainly from when I was a lot younger, reading history books and what have you, all those stories about things like the British campaign in Egypt, and suddenly sort of comes back to you when you start reading all that. I think it's really interesting. But anyway,
you can't really not like British infantry in the desert because they're in red coats. It just works, and palm trees, red coats.
It's got to work, hasn't it? It's got to work in everywhere. The problem with this is I'm going to have to then build another British army that's no longer with grassy bases. That's all sandy.
Well, I was going to say, have you got an appropriate board? What's wrong with that? In all that stuff behind you, if you've got the appropriate board?
I've got some sandy ones back there. I can crack open the Crusader style stuff. That'll be fair enough, isn't it?
Good point.
No, I think it's a fascinating period, I have to say. So are there any other sort of little tips and winks you can tell us about? Nobody's listening, only about 120 odd people. Anything that you can tell us about might be coming down the line in the Perry mansions?
Well, I'm making some Baden infantry for Napoleonic period.
Oh, nice.
At the moment, they're basically sitting next to the Ottoman mannequins at the same time, so I'm working on both at the same time. But I'm painting up some 3-ups for the announcement. Well, for the sort of showing the new ones, the new plastics, which will be coming out at some point after the Russian New Lands and Michael's Franco-Prussians. They're coming out at Sloot.
Mm-hmm.
And in the display case at Sloot, we'll be showing what's coming in next in plastic.
Nice.
And at the moment, I'm painting up the 3-ups for them.
Ah, nice. I did see.
So I can't tell you what they are, I'm afraid. It's spoil the surprise at Salute.
We'll all have to go to
sleep. I can't. It's my wife's birthday. I can't this year. I'm gonna have to. You're gonna have to be with me, my eyes and ears, Dom, and also my wallet, please.
Well, I am definitely going. I will definitely be there, and I will rush over to the Perry stand and say hello to you guys, and also take lots of pictures.
I guess we will be putting up pictures of what's coming up soon after Salute, in the week after Salute as well. So if you miss it at Salute, it'll only be a couple of days before you'll see them.
Brilliant.
On our side.
Brilliant.
Fantastic.
Awesome. All right. Sorry, carry on.
No, I've got just to try and think of anything else. I think no, I've got there's so much I have to sort of get ready for Salute, like these 3-ups, and trying to get other things done as well. So no, I can't really think of anything else which might be sort of coming up.
I think I probably won't be forgiven if I don't ask this by multiple people in the group and who watch this and other groups. Obviously, the Wars of the Roses range, which is incredibly popular with all of the different sets that are out, the rule sets are out now, and especially the ones that have come out recently. And you've got the re-release of Hail Caesar. And we talked before that you guys said that there are things that you'd like to do for it, but there are so many other things that you wanted to do in the meantime. If you got anything sort of in your head, maybe for the Wars of the Roses?
No, because it's Michael's range. I haven't, because Michael's doing that range. Now, if he was here, obviously, I could say over to Michael. I actually don't know if he's got anything planned. He probably has, but I know he's got other things like the Franco-Russian War to deal with first before he goes back in time.
There we go. But that's important because I can't be had up for not asking. So there we go.
No, you do ask.
There you go. It's a good point there, Martin. He's saying, what better birthday gift than go to Salute and get some nice shiny new models. Maybe
Those
some more 95th.
they might break in
Maybe more
transit when I
95th.
go to the new house. No more 95th. They might break in transit. I was sitting there because I'm doing the it's the 60th, right? The 60th rifles, isn't it, in the Zulu War? And I was sitting there going, can I actually bring myself to do the green? I don't know if I can do it again. I just because I know that when I play Hayley, she's going to want to be the British, and I don't want to give them more right. I know that it's different by that period and that, but I just know that they're going to end up kicking my ass. So I'm just not going to paint them. She can do it herself.
They'll still kick your ass, whatever happens.
I know.
Don't worry.
I know.
Don't you
I
worry.
know.
Awesome. We're half an hour in, so let's give Alan a few minutes to have a breather because he's been doing a lot of talking. So keep your questions coming in. We're making a note of them. We'll come back and ask some of those afterwards. But Martin, let's talk about some of the stuff you've been working on the last week or so. I'm looking at your empty room behind you. I know you're in the process of moving, so there's not an awful lot probably been going on in your life, figure-wise.
Figure-wise, I've been giving miniatures away. There's people in the chat that will tell you that I've been just trying to get rid of miniatures and boards and things, saying, "Colin, you need a 2x2 port skirmish board, Dom."
You've tried to give that to me five times.
No, it's quite a lot. In terms of actually painting, all I'm doing is continuing work on these little 10mm Saxon things that I'm working on, because that's my little moving project, and this is what I've been allowed. So because everything else is going, I had to put all my paints that I can use into a shoebox. Okay, that is what I'm allowed at the moment because everything else has gone to storage, and I then have a little thing for my miniatures, and that is it. However, it is giving me a good chance to do a lot of reading and planning for things. But I did see I put this on here because Steve was here, but I did play Masters of the Universe again. But I only put that on there for Steve, because I thought he might appreciate it. But he's not here, so there we go. So that it's a good fun game.
I know you love that game, don't you?
I love it. Well, I like it because I won. So so we're probably playing it wrong somehow. But no, this has been a lot of planning and things at the moment. And obviously when you're moving house, you do I found loads of rule sets that I've forgotten that I had. So I've tried to keep, and in my head I was like, I must play that. Probably won't happen. I put all of my rule books into one massive, because we're getting loads of banana boxes from Tesco's. Just using the shifting those, and I put all my rule books into one of those and nearly broke my back trying to lift that. So I had to get some guy to help me at the other end. But no, that I'm been incredibly unproductive over the last couple of weeks, and probably will be for the next 2 or 3 weeks as well, until I can get set up in the new place. But I have got my little project, which is going. So I've painted about 100 10mm Saxons at the minute. So it's the hand painting of all the shields that's sending me a bit crazy. So, but yeah, that's it. There's nothing else to say, unfortunately, for me.
Well, you get a pass. It's fine. I know when you've got other things, it's one of those.
Oh yeah, no, and planning Ken Stag do. I've been doing.
Well, there is that, which is next weekend. So
that is next weekend, which is why we haven't got a stream next Monday.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
Which
is why we got one tonight and not next week, because otherwise we wouldn't have had one tonight because it was a bank holiday.
Yes, exactly. So
anyway,
what about you?
Well, I mean, I've been busy. I've been good. I've had a veritable smorgasbord of different things that I've been working on. So a few more for my Bruce's in Ireland project. So these are some missile units for that, which I think is I'm pretty much done with that now. If I can ever get a chance to have a game, I'm going to have a game with that.
What are you planning on using?
I am going to use Hail Caesar. I'm going to take a version of your adaptation of Rick's War of the Roses version and adapt that slightly. And I think also, was it a game you were playing, Alan, that with Rick, I saw in a magazine of the earlier period of the Norman invasion of Ireland? Were you involved in that one? Maybe it wasn't you guys.
Couldn't ring a bell. No.
Maybe it was just Rick, but I know he put up a game in one of the magazines of a slightly earlier period than I'm doing, which is the Bruce's invading Ireland, and so he put up all of the stats for the Hail Caesar in that magazine article. So I thought if I can mold those two together, I'll get something that kind of approximates what it's like. And we'll give it a go, see how it works. Alec down the club wants to have a go, so we shall see. We shall see what happens.
I'm looking forward to it. I want to see, because this project really came out of nowhere for you. So it
came out of everywhere. Yeah, absolutely. It was just a boring meeting where I was at work and I flipped onto something on YouTube, and this campaign about Bruce's invading Ireland after Bannockburn came
Australian
up. Australian
invasion of Ireland.
Bruce's, yes, exactly, yes. Yeah. Very good, very good. Yes,
that's the best. That's the best type of project. The ones that come out of nowhere. That's the only reason I'm doing these 10mm Saxons, because of just a random. Just happened. My mother wanted to find a birthday present for me, so Tolkien had that new book coming out. I say Tolkien had a new book. There was a new version of one of Tolkien's books coming out about the Battle of Maldon. And then thinking, I like that battle. That's interesting. Hang on, and then 2 hours later, there's miniatures on the way and plans.
It's the way it happens. It is the way it happens. But I've also been carrying on with my Dux Britannia force, which I started. You didn't see this, I don't think, Martin, because you weren't on last week. Were you? I can't remember. But 1 week when I
wasn't
first
here. No, I wasn't here last week. No, you subbed me out for Leon, but gave him my name.
That's right. So I don't know why I possessed to do those guys yellow, but some archers for the force. I'm doing I'm doing the Romano British force because I've got some Saxons already done. They're
cool.
So that's another load. I find them quite fun to do. Actually, I'm quite enjoying doing them.
I find the period. I like painting that period as well. Yeah. I kind of find them very weirdly individual. Does that make it individual?
I know what you mean. I do know what you mean.
Are those the Victrix ones, or are those...
They are Gripping Beast metals. Cool. Yeah. Hand painted shields, obviously.
Oh yeah, clearly.
Yeah. And then I got onto some 15mm stuff.
That's not Dux Britannia.
No. I told you it's been a real smorgasbord of different things. So I just went through some of the half made up kits of 15mm that I've been working on and finished them off. So that's the Jagdpanther, Wirbelwind, and Panzer IV, and then a bevy of Hanemags. I just got around to doing, which I really enjoyed doing. They're so easy to paint up and so easy to do. Lots of mud around the base and what have you. And then because Alan was on tonight, even though I don't know whether you modelled these, but I had to do the Gurillos artillery.
I did.
Yeah. So
very nice.
So I thought I'd paint those up because I'm going to do a Spanish brigade for my Napoleonic collection. So I've got them. And,
brilliant.
Yeah, just a bit of variety. So they're really nice. I really enjoy doing those. Yeah, exactly. That's what I liked about it. I thought I could have regular cavalry, or could have regular artillery or guerrilla artillery, and I went for them. So yeah.
I
think. And then this is entirely Martin's fault. The next project.
What have I done? They look fantastic.
Yeah. So this is my Bushido force.
Wow. We're only talking about that 2 weeks ago. If you want,
they only took a couple of days to paint up, mate.
They look fantastic. How did you enjoy painting?
I love them, especially this dude. He was brilliant. They're great fun to do. Actually,
they're like the pirate faction, aren't they?
They're the young pirates. I think they're called. So,
well, we're definitely going to be having a game in Derby now, aren't we? So, I'll definitely be bringing that board along.
So I chopped off their base and bought some different bases from.
Bushido's played on a 2x2. I'm offering you a 2x2 port board, and they're pirates.
Oh, all right. Bring it along next weekend. I'll have it.
Brilliant. Okay, there we go. It's either that or the tip.
I was thinking about how I could use it. And you're quite right, though. I could use it for that.
Exactly. There you go.
So yeah, that's what I've been working on.
Fantastic.
Just as usual, a ridiculous mixture of stuff, really. Just crazy. Right. Let us get on. So we were hoping that we'd show Steve his production of his Huey helicopter, but sadly,
Did he commit to doing that last week?
He did. He committed to do it over the bank holiday weekend.
Oh.
However, I know he's had a few family issues, so he may not have had a chance to do it. But I so wanted to see how stressed out he got trying to make that. So he got one of the Alan. I don't know if you've seen it. This Rubicon did a Huey helicopter for the Vietnam period.
Oh yeah.
And I think he has more parts in the kit than the actual helicopter has.
No.
And so we've been.
I know they really are fine, aren't they?
Oh, unbelievable! They're works of art. I mean, they're brilliant, but I mean, they're not for somebody cack-handed as me to make. But Steve was obsessed with getting one, and then he arrives and he's sat on it. Well, not literally sat on it, but he's had it on his desk for about a month and a half. Just every time he opens it, he has palpitations and closes the box up again. And but he said this weekend he was going to do it. Yeah, exactly. He said this weekend he was going to do it, but I know I think one of his family members hasn't been very well, so I'm not sure he's been in the right frame of mind, which is a shame because I really wanted to see what he'd done with it. Anyway, especially apparently Philip says, especially the rocket launchers are bad. Okay. Right then, let's have a look at some of the questions we had through, Alan. I know some of this we may have already addressed, but let's work through the list. Oh, you had some questions, didn't you?
I had one that came with a photo.
Go for it.
And this is from Matthew, and he had a very simple question. He wanted to know, first of all, if you remember that Brie village that was built, or I can't remember when it was, and then he basically just wanted to know what happened to it.
It went in a tip.
What?
It was thrown in the tip at workshop.
So,
we
waiting for the message to come through now.
Get it back to use for our own reasons, just for historical, really. Just you could use for quite historical bits pieces. And when we heard what they'd done, they went ballistic because they just threw it in the skip to make room.
Goodness. Jeez, and they didn't even give you a first refusal to take it off your hands.
Yeah. That's what we thought. Well, what we would have taken it away and used it.
Holy smoke!
So, no.
He had a slight. I'm a bit dumbfounded. I don't really know what to say. He had a slight thought. Yeah, he said I think he's been painting up a lot of the original sculpts from the but that's essentially what I think the reaction is, James. That he's painting something else, but he just said that in an interview on there, you guys had said something along the lines of that you had to sculpt miniatures where you either hadn't seen the actor or you hadn't seen what the filmmakers were going to do for it. So how did you even come up with that if that was the case?
Well, no. What during the Lord of the Rings?
Yes.
Hobbit.
Yeah. The Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
No, we couldn't make anything we hadn't seen, but we had to wait ages for sometimes we had to wait ages to get the information coming through. Which was ended up as sort of fairly last minute stuff. All the digital creatures, most of them in the earlier films, the trolls, everything had to be done at the last minute because they were changing their version of the troll every minute.
I was going to say, so you didn't have to sculpt it and then they come back and go, oh no, we've changed completely how its head looks. Or anything like you had to wait till it's finalized.
No, we didn't sculpt. We couldn't do that because we had to wait until we actually definitely saw it. But weirdly, actually, Mike, with the Hobbit, the Goblin King.
Yes, yeah.
Well, yes. Michael made the model of that, and we'd only had it in resin. It hadn't been put into production or anything. When he went over to New Zealand, And when we went into Weta, and Richard Taylor saw it, and then he said, "Oh right, okay, I'll take it over to." We both went over to John Howe and Alan Lee in their little studio. Alan Lee was just doing this painting of the Goblin King, and Michael mistakenly put sort of the muscles, made him a little bit more muscly than he should be on the shoulders. But Peter liked it that way, so as we brought the little model in. Alan Lee said, "Yeah, no. Peter told me I've got to change this painting now. I'll put more muscles on it." Michael made a mistake on the figure.
That's fantastic.
It's a bit weird.
Oh, I love it.
I think that
the model changed everything.
Or again, but yeah, it's only a very slight change, but even so, it's noticeable.
That is brilliant.
So, yeah, I mean that's one of the reasons why when we went over to New Zealand, we would sketch anything we saw on set or at Weta because it saved time. Because you'd have to wait another month or two before the actual things come in, or any details that you sort of want to know on the figures would actually get through the big sort of filter system ready before it reached workshop.
Jeez.
And every month was sort of you needed shorten the distance between production and making them as much as possible.
Wow. I guess I mean, I'm interested. How many more questions do you get about the Lord of the Rings figures versus the historical questions? Is it fairly even balance, or do you still get asked more about that?
It probably is 50-50. Yeah. But it was a good time. I mean, we love doing it, and they're really good times over there. So we don't mind talking about it. Some people wish we'd shut up about it, I think.
Yeah, well, never mind. I mean, it's all classic figures, I think, and they're just amazing, absolutely extraordinary. Let's have a look at some of the questions we got through then. So Nick Games asked a question, Perry Miniatures World War One.
Well,
so I think he's asking, are you going to do World War One? It's probably the question there.
No. Weirdly, it's not really a period we're into heavily, although we have made a huge amount of First World War figures for Peter Jackson.
Ah, yes,
probably never going to see the light of day.
Yes, I remember that. You mentioned that last time we were on the big ones. Yeah,
yeah. So we have made a lot, but not in 28mm and not for Perry Miniatures. But again, as a period, we're both really cut off. We cut off around about when the red coat goes out to British Army, which is about sort of 1880s. After that, it gets a little bit too, a bit too olive drab.
I'm just painting something in olive green at the minute. I was just looking at it.
A bit too olive drab. Yeah, okay, I get that. I have to say, I get the same. I get to that point. It's just like, it's a bit boring. Want some colour. I think we've answered this one, Joseph. Will we ever see plastic Ottomans? If you spend enough money on the metals, is basically the answer. And if there's enough interest in the metal.
It's down to you.
It's all down to you, Joseph. That's all I can say.
Joseph, yeah.
So another question. Here we go. Have you ever thought about doing any 1812? I assume he means the North American War. Yeah.
Yeah. I have thought about it, and the British are sort of fine and ready. They could be used. So it is one I've been thinking about and probably will get around to. It's not at the top of the list, but it's on the list.
Somewhere in the list, which is a good sign. There you go.
On the list, yeah.
That's definitely a period, which over the last sort of year, I've seen more projects popping up for sort of in our community, because we each week, like we will today, we post up pictures that people have been contributing on Facebook, and there's been more 1812 projects in the last 12 months than there had certainly before it. So it seems to be a period. And then, do you think that's because muskets and tomahawks, they have the 1812 rules are in the same Redcoat book, aren't they, Dom? They're in the,
they are.
The French Indian War book, aren't they? So I was wondering if that had something to do with it.
Yeah, there's a lot of skirmishing. A lot of periods opening up because of the loads of skirmish rules out now. There's a good skirmish rule. So yeah, like I always liked the American War of 1812, but there is a lot of variations in the American uniforms, even for that short time. So if somebody's asking about plastics, doing the plastics, you wouldn't make enough money out of it, and the frames would be so big, trying to cover all these different uniform variants.
I've just seen. Did you just put this up, Tom? Glamour Smash Face put War of 1812, and then that's because he lives in Baltimore.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Oh,
there you go.
Well, an ancestor of ours, I'm afraid, bombarded Baltimore in 1814. It really did. I mean, he's a 5 times great uncle who's a naval officer. He's captain of the Etna, which is a bomb ship, who bombarded all down the American coast, ended up bombarding Baltimore.
That's what you call a Perry special delivery, that one.
It was a special delivery, it was. There's 3 bomb ships, and he was captain of one of them. And he was actually killed in 1814 by American militiamen as on a amphibious raid off the Potomac river up there.
Wow. That's an interesting one. I like that. So they're going to be very historically accurate because you can you must do that period, Alan. You've got to do that period. That's all we can say.
I know. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I mean,
Nick's come back with the French did have a lot of red on their uniform. Easy targets.
Yes, they did.
Too. There you go.
Yeah.
He's not giving up on his World War One.
No.
Oh dear.
Michael's French Franco-Prussian War are very similar to 1914 uniform, but not quite.
Very true. Very true.
Close, but no banana, maybe.
I think close enough, haven't they? I think so. Actually, there are a few questions about the Franco-Prussian sets. Let me just scroll through some. There we go. James says, "All I want for Christmas is more Franco-Prussian wool." Well, we've got the wrong Perry for this one, I'm afraid. It's Michael.
You have. Yeah, but I'll say the French are coming out at salute, so you'll definitely have more Franco-Prussian before Christmas.
There we go. Yeah, James, just what you wanted.
I think he's working on more metals as well at the moment for the French.
Oh, nice.
I don't know what they are.
What else have we got here? I did see. Oh yeah, Mark asked that question: are the Franco-Prussian French coming at salute? Yes, you just heard it here first. There you go. So you will be able to pick them up there on the stand.
Yeah, I don't know if people know he's doing 2 boxes, like we have done with a few of the American Civil War kits and the French line infantry. We got a skirmishing set and a more unit sort of a battalion set, and doing the same thing with the French and with the Prussian, Franco-Prussians. Yeah, exactly the same sort of thing, just a different mix in the box. Yeah.
Which was, I thought that again, it's a nice idea, a bit like the change up with the we were talking about earlier with the Napoleonic cavalry, to have those very similar but not quite the same, but was a nice option. So you can swap them around and mix them up, which is great. Really good sets. Would you look at going back over some of your other box sets and do something similar?
Not really. No,
it's honesty for you.
No, it's just something we're sort of thinking you can do with ones going into the future, but no, because some of the older plastics we're probably doing a slightly different way now. Anyway, like with the Prussians and the Russians, all fixed, the arms fixed and everything. Nowadays, I'd make the arms separate, and so it would be a completely different set of figures.
Do you look at some of your old ranges and think, I wish I'd done it differently, or or get the hankering to change them in some way, or is it just that's done? We'll forget that one and move on.
Oh no, some I'd have hankering of changing, but sort of redoing, remaking. Some of the really early ones in the perimeters. I mean, the Brunswick I would redo again, I think, because that was a long time ago now. It was 22 years ago. Wow. And I think I've progressed a little bit more since then, actually.
Definitely. Here we go. Actually, which Shako said, did Alan just say new plastic Prussians? No, I think it's French.
I didn't.
It's French.
It was French. Yeah.
You can't hear what you can't hear. It wasn't true. And Graham says the bombardment of Baltimore is the basis of the words of the US national anthem. There you go.
Exactly. And where it says the bombs and the rockets, I think it says it was one of the lines. That's one of Atlas's bombs, I'm afraid. Sorry.
That was a Perry bomb.
Perry bomb.
That was a Perry bomb. Oh, dear. Mind you, Smashing Face says, we won Baltimore, though. There you go. So fair enough. Cool. Oh, dear. Oh dear, here we go. So Matt Render asked this question: any chance of Kiwis and Turks in plastic for Gallipoli? Huge fan, Alan, of all the work you do. Keep up the awesome work.
Thank you. Thank you. We have made them, but in 54mm for a huge diorama over in New Zealand, both Kiwis and Turks. The diorama, unfortunately, was only up for about 3 years or 2 years, and then it's taken down, put in storage.
Not skip.
I had 5,000 of them on all 54mm.
Wow,
fantastic!
So,
I must have actually fantastic.
But not in 28mm, not in plastic.
Oh. I must say, guys, what I was going to say. Matt, there, he's got a YouTube channel, and he's actually just put up he's planning a Sudan campaign, and he's just put together a video for that. So anyone who's in chat, if you want to go and check out, he's just done some bolt action Vietnam stuff as well. So go over there and check his channel out. And also, if you follow him on Instagram, and because he's an artist, if you haven't checked out his artwork, it's absolutely fantastic. I don't think he minds, but because it's in his profile, he's a sketch artist for the NYPD. So his artwork is pretty awesome. But yeah, go over, check out his YouTube channel, because I say he's planning a Sudan campaign, and he's got some Zulu stuff on there as well. That's very cool.
Awesome. Oh my goodness, they're still coming in. So ever considered a Flodden range?
I think, again, it's probably more linked in with Michael's period that he's doing. And I think he had sort of thought about doing it for some time, but went on to other things. Or just sort of other things crop up, and you get all excited about another period. So I think he had thought about it, and so I probably won't be, but he might do it in the future at some point.
You'd have needed that. You did a bunch of Scots for that. Well, slightly before that, didn't you, Dom?
Yes, I did. And actually, yeah, I don't know. No, I'm not going to go down there. No more. That's enough. I'm trying to limit what I'm doing.
You've done the Scots in the Wars of the Roses. You're doing the Bruce in Ireland.
Yeah, but I've got a massive Ottoman army plan. So, I mean, what can I do?
Yeah, don't neglect that.
Exactly. There you go. What else have we got here? Oh my goodness. Oh no, we've already covered some. Boney was asking about when the Ulans are coming out. That's salute. Shring says, I'd love to see a 3-upper for Caracia or Carabinier.
We can go get an Austrian one.
There you go.
If you want, I can show. I'll be gone for 30 seconds while I get it.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, love to see it if you've got it. Yeah, love to see it. Why not?
There we go. Fantastic.
Well, I got the opportunity to see into the treasure trove. Let's do it.
Let's quickly just look at the shelves behind him just to see if you can see anything.
I know. I'm anyone panning quickly to see if there's any secrets there. We can find out. Yeah.
The thing is, if there's any secrets there, it doesn't really matter because it's just going to be open wallet surgery, isn't it? So...
I know it just doesn't really matter, does it? It really doesn't. It doesn't really matter.
It doesn't. But those Ottomans do look cool. They do look really cool.
They just look so colourful. That's the thing. I think. I mean, they'll be absolutely shocking on the table, I'm sure, but be fantastic.
But they'll look good doing it.
They'll look good doing it. Exactly. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Oof. That was a quick one.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my Lord. Look at that.
So it's high.
Oh, wow.
These really just painted up for the for salute, or for putting in the leaflet.
That's lovely.
It's usually sometime before we get the plastics back, and not always time to paint up plastics for salute or for the leaflets in time because of the lead time. It's a trooper. And some for some.
Oh, that's nice.
Oops, that's nice.
Very nice.
Very nice. It's fun to paint up, but I find they don't really take a lot longer than the smaller one, 28mm. Weirdly, just a bigger brush.
I suppose that's true. Yeah, at least I'd have a chance of doing the eyeballs on one of those. That'd be something, at least.
Eyeballs are fine on those. Yeah.
So, how often do you make those sort of models? Is it with every figure?
What for the plastics? You mean? And paint them.
Yes.
Well, it's if there's time. If I've got time to get the greens off, the 3-up greens, send them to be resined, get them back in time before we give them to Terry at Renedra.
Yeah.
Normally that's okay. And also if salute is coming up, it's a big incentive to actually get some done. So probably only about a third of the time we sort of when we get a plastic box out, it's not always the case. We have time to do it.
Right.
But we do try. Well, I try anyway. But Michael's doesn't do it so much, actually.
And what happens to them after?
It's easy to hold a large figure.
No, I suppose that's true. Yeah, it's a bit harder for him, isn't it? But yeah, what happens to them once you've done with them? Do they go in a cabinet of all your works of art?
Well, they mostly sit on top of the cabinets and sit on top of cabinets and with other things in them. The decoration, I suppose.
Yeah, Shaker says, have you ever thought about offering up some 3-ups in resin? A bit like Captain David Gregory.
No, I mean the 3-ups are done for reducing down to 28mm. So the David Gregory figure is actually more or less in scale, whereas these are caricatured. And also they're also masters. These are sort of really for a pattern, and you don't really want to sell your masters too much. No, David Gregory is a sort of bit of a one-off thing, but
no, fair enough. I just have visions of everybody wanting one of those in their collection just to sit on the cabinet somewhere.
I know we do get asked a lot actually. Yeah. I have. As he mentioned the David Gregory figure, I made another ancestor, actually a naval officer, which I've got in the other room. Again, I can show you if you like.
Oh yeah, go for it.
There's a group of about 5 figures. I'll go and get that.
Yeah. Sorry, you're going to be going backwards.
We're bring out everything. We're happy.
I'll just take you with me.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Just show us around. Awesome. That's awesome.
Oh man,
I love that. I mean, that just is a fantastic model. Just imagine having that an original Perry 3-up in your collection. What would you have, Martin? Which one would you have?
Would be in Wars of the Roses, wouldn't it?
It'd
have to be. It'd probably be. It just have to be one of the. I just like some of the men at arms. It just have to be one of the guys, just with, or a billman. Just a simple.
Some of those billmen in that box set are fantastic, aren't they? They'd be brilliant.
I do like a billman.
Oh dear. Yeah, so Red Steph says Alan wasn't expecting a cardio workout tonight. Sorry about that. We're making you work.
Oh, hold on. It's all right. I need a little blue tack to hold them together. Otherwise,
don't
just fall
worry.
apart.
That's fine. That's fine. Awesome. I don't know what I'd go for. Maybe something. It'd have to be Napoleonic, I think. Some of those cavalry look amazing.
For Steve, it would have to be a French drummer.
Yeah. No. We could do a little whip around of everybody to contribute to getting a French drummer to send to Steve. I think that would be fantastic.
I think that might. It's the Huey or the French drummer. Your choice. Which one?
Which one would kill him?
Either way, we want a live stream of you either painting it or sticking it together.
Oh my goodness, wouldn't that be fantastic? Lovely. Yeah, like kids in the sweet shop with the sweet maker. It's true.
Absolutely,
it's very true.
So it's very true. This figure here is, say, the naval captain who bombarded Baltimore, but he was the 5 times great grandfather's brother-in-law, basically. So he's our 5 times uncle, and he did a lot of other things other than. Not only did he bombard Baltimore, he's captured a small island in the Java Sea with Captain Cole. So I thought we'd make a diorama of that particular occasion.
That's awesome.
Please go together.
That's me. Why have you made me big?
I don't know. I was trying to bring out Alan. But I can't. I'm technically incompetent, so I couldn't do it.
Hang on, I'll do it. Hang on.
I was trying to. Yeah.
There we go. That's better.
I'll get rid of the 1 second.
So these are 75mm figures.
Yeah.
But this is Captain Richard Kenner. Him. Sorry, him. It's looking the wrong way around. Him, who's our ancestor, against a Dutch garrison officer who's in the on the Bandonera.
Yeah.
And whose fort they had to take. Him and Captain Cole and about 150 naval personnel. So I did some naval personnel as well to go along with this little diorama. So,
that is brilliant.
Naval rating armed with a boarding pike.
Yep.
And there's a Madras Fusilier charging in as well.
Oh, I like him particularly. That's brilliant.
Oh, yes.
No lace on the jacket. It's just a fairly plain jacket, but red.
Awesome.
My battery's running low. Hold on. I was plugged in. And yeah, that's it. Actually.
That's awesome.
Thank you very much. That is awesome.
I love that.
They're all going nuts in the They all want.
Yeah, everybody wants those.
Yeah, I made them some time ago, and they've just been sitting on my table for ages, and I haven't given to the resin caster. I don't know why. I think I just want to make absolutely sure everything's right before I sort of send them in. But I haven't. I've been doing too many other things, but that will happen. I think.
So for those who don't get the process with that, so from that model, those greens that you've got there, those 3-ups, what happens to them? To then
well, they're
become
not
3-ups. Sorry, but same process.
So those these are just going straight into resin, and that's it. Like the Captain Gregory figure.
Okay. Apologies. Right.
Yeah, they're not 4 3-ups. Those ones, no. So it'd be better to paint them at 75mm.
Awesome. What else have we got? Yeah, they want to. Yes, I think that's great. Boney wants to know about the chasseur on the cabinet behind you at rest.
Oh, yeah. He's. I won't bring him down because it's very heavy. I'll try and show you the.
I thought that was a painting.
He made my beat
thought it-
by me.
That's
Ooh.
fantastic.
That's wonderful.
It's a lovely figure made by Oscar Nielsen.
Oh.
And if anybody's interested in seeing more of his stuff, type in Oscar Nielsen, and you'll find his site is absolutely amazing. He does stuff for museums in Sweden and for the police. He, if there's a body, he'll forensic type heads and that sort of thing. And archaeology, he does a lot of stuff, archaeological sort of skulls. The skulls are found in and reproduce them based on.
Fantastic.
Now it's nearly all done digitally, but he does it manually.
Putting the markers
Like
on and then
on his
building it up. Yeah.
Yeah, but on the right thickness of muscle and skin or muscle really on the face. I mean, it's an amazing site if you can find it. You should better find it quite easily. Oscar Nielsen, sculptor, and it's incredible what he does.
I'm always fascinated by the work they do, reconstructing faces. I just think, wow, it's extraordinary, unbelievable.
Yeah,
unbelievable. Let's have another question. So, how about some samurai mercenaries fighting with the king of Siam's army versus Burma? Very colourful and war
I've never
elephants
had that
too.
question before. I don't think I've ever had that question before. That's amazing.
Really?
It certainly is. I've never heard about the samurai mercenaries fighting for them. Wow.
I've heard about the Siam versus Burmese, but I didn't know there was any samurai involved. But that's fascinating.
No, nor did I. No, I'll keep it on the back burner if I'm. But it does sound quite interesting, actually.
Oh, look, we just scratched an itch for Alan there.
That's it.
Oh, we've lost him. Look at that. He's gone off to research already, just like that. I think he's hopefully he's been having a few internet problems, this Alan. So hopefully
maybe that was his battery.
He did say that his battery was low. Maybe that's what's finally given out.
We could always should
we do a bit of news while we're waiting for him to reconnect?
Well, yeah, why not? Let's do some let's do some news. Have you got some news? I've got a few bits.
I've got a couple. It's actually quite a light week from what I saw.
It has been. It has been.
Let's run this for a second. Shall I run this?
Is it from some weird brand loyalty that you feel like we have to do that
Well, after Ken went to such trouble not making that, I felt that it's important to show it. That's all. That's all I'm doing.
All right. Absolutely.
Oh, sorry, I'll just took that off and you took it back on again. There we go. So, what did you see so far this week?
I saw just a couple of things. Everyone knows we like Macross from Reconquer. We like his designs, and he put out a little free miniature for Easter. Yep. I mean, to the point. I did see lots of comments of people basically just working out ways they could incorporate this into their projects, but it was there. But what he's working on this month is this which is going to be available to everyone on the Patreon. So yeah, he's going to be. He's done this whole thing now. He's of various references, and he released the stable last month that could go with it. And the stable actually covered a huge area as well when was looking at it. But he'll be releasing this, and of course, you'll be able to get this through any of your anyone who does printing third party, or if you ever print it yourself. But yeah, there we go. That is actually. Did I find something else? Oh yes, I did. North Star are releasing a couple more metal sets for Rangers of Shadow Deep. So you have. I really like this guy. I really like the Falcon. I really like the sword. I think that's awesome. And then there's a ranger with a two-handed sword as well. So for you people who like Rangers of Shadow Deep, which is a game that I keep avoiding buying because I know that I'll spend a lot of time playing it. And there's too many games already. They got some stuff coming out, but that was it. That was it. We've got a little. I'll wait for Dom to go through his, and then we have a bit of news for you to keep you all happy.
Yep. Welcome back, Alan. It was your battery that went, was it?
Yeah, weird because it's plugged in. I don't understand. But anyway, back to now.
We thought we'd catch on with do a bit of news, and then we'll come back, talk through some of the other questions we had. So it wasn't an awful lot of news I saw either, but Warlords put out this Easy 8 platoon. I think Steve was building this, wasn't he? I think
he was.
Easy 8 platoon. I think for one of his bolt action forces. I think. So that's I think it's on pre-order. You can pick it up. And also, I think Matt, who showed this off just before we came on air, actually, a new Kickstarter from Bavarian Miniatures, which is a new company. But apparently, this is Lucas from Piano Miniatures. He modeled these, apparently. So some Bavarian infantry for the Franco-Prussian War, which would go very well with the Perry stuff, I would imagine. So a Kickstarter at some point coming down the line. And then talking of Lucas, because he keeps showing off some wonderful work in progress, he showed off some of the French that he's working on for a future Kickstarter, which just look very, very good indeed.
Nice, yeah.
And as usual, I would imagine Lucas does everything 3D prints, but also metal. So, although you do have to watch out if you order it because he's in Germany. So if you're in the UK, you have to end up paying duty, which can be a bit annoying. Although he does credit you any of the VAT, which is great.
That's awesome.
Which is a really nice touch. So you just have to ask him because I may have got some of his figures from his last Kickstarter, and it may have given me a bit of a customs bill. I think, but he paid most of it back, which was great.
Yeah.
So that's all cool. So I think that was all I saw actually. Yeah, it was very quiet this week. What about you? Had some news about CrackCon?
Well, we do. So all of you people who've been waiting patiently for news about the Games Day CrackCon in October, reminder, it's on the 21st of October. Tickets are going to be going up next month. We'll be putting those out in May, so you'll be able to get those. But we thought we would treat you to the theme for this one, and it was a bit of a no-brainer in the end, really, because of course the 21st is the anniversary of Trafalgar. I dare say we're going to. Well, there's going to be a big Trafalgar game. There's one in the shop that Ian's running. But to all of you lovely people who are coming, here is a broadside of crack.
Obviously, a broadside of crack. That's what it's going to be.
How we managed to do 4 of these things, but there it is. So this will be available on various and other. There will be dice. There'll be more information once the tickets go up as well. We'll be putting information about the various games that are available, the number of tables that we've got, the number of tables that are spare, because we've got a few other people coming to demonstrate games as well. I know Andy was quite keen on Andy Hobday coming and showing off Gangs of Rome on a little table. I saw a rice cricket. Cheers, Matt. That will be, the tickets will be going up next month, and we will keep you abreast of all information regarding that, including how you can get into games. If you want to host a game, then you can send all of the stuff to us, and we will do our best to accommodate you, or to say you're crazy. What are you doing? That hasn't happened yet.
Don't be insane. Yeah, and it's a reminder, because it's our friends at Boards and Swords that are hosting us there. Again, reminder, if you want to, and sponsoring the stream, exactly, and if you want to get an extra 5% discount on everything that they do, just PCP5 will get an additional 5% on his already marked down products.
He does, and also it has been pointed out, I mean, that's the biggest sale of historical products is when we turn up. with 50 people into store, and the historical side just disappears.
It's awesome. It is awesome. So obviously, Alan, you have an open invite. You and Michael, if you want to come along to CrackCon in October, it's in Derby. You're more than
Everyone's welcome.
We were delighted.
Unfortunately, the 21st is my wife's birthday party.
Well, she can come along too. Actually, I seem to remember we invited you once before, and it's always around that time. And I think I remember you saying that last time. I thought, oh god, there you go. Never mind.
Yeah, and I think Michael Nunez, his wife's wedding anniversary party combined. So
we're gonna have to rearrange it for another weekend, Martin, so the parents can come along one day.
Well, yeah. Well, I think Ken couldn't come to the other one, but that's fine.
That's fine.
That's fine. That's fine. We're taking him to Nottingham this weekend and going to try and leave him on a tram, just going around on the. That's my plan for his stag.
Oh, yeah.
I know I'm the best.
Yeah, we're in Nottingham.
We're in Nottingham. Our plan was to. I mean, I highly doubt he's actually going to be watching this. So because he sent us a picture of him, video of him feeding a jaguar or something.
Yes, he did.
Did you keep hype? Were you hoping that it was going to reach through the cage as well as get?
I'm so pleased you said that because I felt a really bad person, but I so wanted. Something nasty.
His arm just to disappear. No, we're going up to Nottingham on Friday, and then our original plan was because Ken likes trains and trams was to leave him on a tram just going around Nottingham, and while we go and have a good time. But no, we've got a few things planned for the Saturday, but I believe the morning does involve. I think there isn't actually anything booked until like 3 because I believe Ken demanded a visit to Warlord and Games Workshop on the Friday. Aren't you going to Games Workshop with him, Dog? You're going to the bar, aren't you?
Yeah, it's what I have to pay for a lift is to go to Games Workshop, but I'm going to just go to the Bug Bar, is it, or whatever it is, and just drink. I think it's the only thing to do. Yeah, it's the only thing to do. They can go off and oodle all around all the highly priced figures, and I'm going to go and have a beer.
Well, I'm going to be getting a lift with our friend Miller, but we've got to drive past Naseby, so I'm going to have to try and convince him not to get out the car and start wandering around the battlefield with his predilection for pikes and all things parliamentarian. So,
good luck with that.
So, yeah, I know.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. If you end up in the trip, let me know.
In the ship, okay.
The trip to Jerusalem, the pub.
Oh, the old trip, yeah.
The old trip, yeah.
The old trip.
Oh, definitely.
I'm about 5 minutes away.
Well, me and John will. We won't tell anyone else. We will.
No.
We won't. We'll leave Ken on the tram, as I say. That's the plan. To be fair, I can't. Wherever it is we're staying, because Ken found it, and I was looking at the TripAdvisor things, and each review gradually gets worse and worse and worse.
I'm dreading that place you booked us into.
Don't blame me.
Really,
don't blame me. We've got to pay 150 quid deposit for anything broken, and when we get there. And the last review I read said everything was already broken. So they went around taking photos.
Jeez.
So it's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Anyway, so that's what we'll be doing this weekend is trying to kill Ken. Which is great, and trying to see what we can do to him. Let's get back to some of the questions. So, while we've got you, Alan, if you don't mind, we've got some. Oh crikey, there's so many here. I've starred. Let's go back to the Ottomans because I want to know more about that. People ask. We've addressed whether there's going to be plastic, so we won't go into that one again. Andy asks, how early to the 18th century would the Ottomans be suitable for?
Well, again, I've got to sort of look into it more. I've only just started on the range, and I'm sort of concentrating on the sort of 1790s up to 1815. But I think some of the troops will certainly be able to be used earlier into the 18th century. I'm not sure how far back yet. I'd have to have a look in more detail, but I would have thought mid 18th century. Some of the matchlock, maybe your infantry, and some of the cavalry probably will be fine. But again, I wouldn't say 100% yet because I'll need to have a look. But I know
certainly the new state ones probably wouldn't, would they? Because they
date from No, they from 1792. The first regiment was formed. So no earlier than that for those. But the others, or the irregulars, I'm going to be doing, and it should be quite useful. Again, probably from the mid 18th century, but I'll have to have a look into it. I'll let people know how early they can go.
Yeah, that would be good, because I think, and James makes the point, great thing about the Ottomans, you can dust off lighter Arab troops from the Crusader armors because the equipment and dress didn't change much. Yeah, probably true.
Yeah, and also some of the like the Nile Arabs that Michael did for the Sudan range, and some of the Berber, not Berber, the Cavalry, can't recall. Michael did for the Sudan range will be useful as well. But I haven't looked 100% into it. I mean, the Bashi bazooks Michael didn't look hardly any different, really.
No,
but I'll do some more anyway.
Some more research. Shrink says, "What about Bosnians and Serbians to fight the Ottomans?"
Yeah, I mean, some of the costumes are sort of blended into the Turkish look anyway. And some of the cavalry were, by the look of it, were also used in the Turkish army, in the Ottoman army. So, yeah, I mean, there might be a bit of crossover.
Yeah, I think so, almost certainly. As you say, I think the when you look at illustrations, there isn't an awful lot of uniform, and they all look very, very similar for pretty much every faction you can see.
Different headgear quite often.
Yes, that's about the only change, isn't it? So having different heads.
Really,
yeah, that's very true. Sean asked the question. Alan and Michael did a wonderful job on the Lord of the Rings range. Is there any other IP that they would have liked to have worked on, like Star Wars or Game of Thrones?
Not particularly Star Wars. Game of Thrones might have been quite interesting.
There's quite a few people actually that I've seen use the Wars of the Roses range for Game of Thrones. Anyway, they convert it because obviously George R. R. Martin based for a large part, at least when he started, on the various houses on the Wars of the Roses. Anyway, so I've seen people who didn't want to say particularly high fantasy looking miniatures. They wanted that actual 15th century armor and stuff for their
exactly. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the people like Captain Blood. He did a lot of figures based on that, didn't he?
Richard.
Job he did. That was at the time when Games of Thrones was going on. Michael's figures were being used for those. It's great. Wait, you couldn't have a better catalogue. Oh, we couldn't have a better publicity. I mean, Game of Thrones that would have been quite good. But I don't think Workshop would have even gone after the license.
The license has just gone to Night Models. I actually saw their post today. Night Models, because there's two different licenses. There's the one for the books, which is held by someone I can't remember who makes the sort of board game / war game, and then Night Models have they're making one based on the HBO stuff, the actual series, because they posted an Easter treat today. They showed the Jon Snow. Thing of that, which look cool. So yeah, that's in the pipeline.
There we go. John asked the question: how much of your interest in historical reenactment aided in the sculpting of miniatures?
Really, subconsciously, probably more than anything, because just you learn the weight and the balance of weapons and what the drill is and everything else by actually going through it or using the weapons and how armor works and what you can do in armor and what you can't do in armor. So it definitely helped all the way along, I think, but probably more subconsciously than anything else.
Have you ever sort of finished sculpting a model and realised that it looked shockingly like one of your co-reenactors that used to fight with?
Well, yeah, we actually did in the early days, in the about when we first were doing 50th century reenactment, we actually made some of the really early Wars of Roses figures which were part of workshop. Actually, came out as workshop figures slightly later on, and then went back to Foundry, based on our reenactor mates. There's about sort of 10 faces. They're all a bit caricatured and horrible now if you look at them, and they're all like hobbits. But, we did actually base them on our mates with wearing the same equipment as our mates. But this is back in 1987, 88, something like that. We were doing that. You can still get them from Foundry, I think.
Someone posted. I think it was well, it wouldn't be like a couple of weeks ago. Someone posted up a load of them, didn't they? I think they'd had them kicking around for quite a long time, and because they were starting, never mind the bill hooks, they dusted them off, and they posted them up. I have to find whose name it was. They were fantastic.
Yeah, it's interesting because actually somebody James, I think, just posted again. What would be your best-selling set, and why is it European mercenary? I guess what I was really going to put alongside that was, do you see fluctuations in as new rule sets come along, like bill hooks and other things? I guess some new Hell Caesar rules that suddenly we get a massive spike in some of those kits that you previously.
Definitely do. Yeah, the Wars of Roses plastics have been going like anything. I think fairly soon after, never mind the bill hooks came out a couple of years ago. The first one, I think.
Yeah.
A year and a half ago, and we did see a rise. At the time, we couldn't work out why, and then realized, oh, hold on, it's probably something to do with that. So, we can't be 100% sure, but it coincided, really. Yeah.
It's probably a fair chance. I think even if people aren't necessarily doing bill hooks or that particular rule set, there's it does spark an interest in that period, I think, for a lot of people. So maybe they do, I don't know, Test of Honor, or not Test of Honor, what's the other one?
Test of Resolve.
That's
or Hail Caesar.
Or Hail Caesar or what have you. But I suppose that just gets people interested. And also the magazines start covering it as well, don't they? So you start seeing a bit more coverage of the period, which is always interesting. Yeah. So that means you must be due to do some new War of the Roses figures with all the interest there.
Well, I'm not doing it. Michael is.
Damn.
Nice.
I wouldn't know really. I think he's got his head buried in Franco-Prussian War at the moment, but you never know. You might well go back to it. I think you're talking about sort of wanting what you could do more to it. There's one or two bits and pieces, I think, but I think it's generally there.
That kit, that particular one that James was talking about, the mercenaries one, it must be pretty much the most flexible kit that you do in terms of. I mean, I see people using it for so many periods, not just Wars of the Roses. It's extraordinary. I mean, do you think about that when you're producing something like that, or is it just a happy coincidence?
Sometimes you do. You realise that you can use it for lots of other things, especially anything medieval. You think half thinking, well, people are going to be using it for fantasy or whatever. And I suppose it hadn't really. Michael might have thought that when he did the mercenaries, but I don't know if it was. He realised it's going to be that sort of much bigger seller. Yeah.
Fascinating. I do see so many models.
You can never tell.
People. Yeah, I guess that's the thing. You produce them and you do the best you can, and then somebody puts a turnip on them, and before you know it, they're being used in all kinds of weird things.
Yes. 40th century hound skull on a Napoleonic uniform. And it looks great. You wouldn't think it would, but
don't encourage them, please, Alan. It's I'm fighting a losing fight here against weirdness. I don't need it anymore.
Well, no, you just painted a pirate with a shark head.
Yeah, but see that it's even seeping into my consciousness, Martin. That's all I'm saying. Oh gosh, what else have we got here? Another request. Frank's Miniatures. What would be nice is a American War of Independence Cavalry plastic set. Well, I think we covered the plastic scenario, but
Yeah,
AWI.
the things with American, American Civil War cavalry. I mean, that's true. It would, be, but you're not using en masse.
No.
You don't often see masses of cavalry during the American independence because they're usually in sort of units, maybe 2 or 3 at the most in one battle. But yeah, no, probably not. But
Probably not.
I can say never.
Well, again, it goes to that thing about the scale of things, isn't it? I mean, if most armies are only going to have a few units of cavalry skirting around the flank, it's just not. You're not going to need the mass cavalry that you would have in the Napoleonic period, where it justifies building huge box sets of plastics.
No.
There you go. Got an order here. If any if Napoleonic plastic land would come out, you buy all of them. There you go. Well, there's about 15 boxes. There you go. On the way to James. There you go. I think it's something I would never say no to, and might well do it in the future. But at the moment, I'm doing other things. Fair enough. Anthony's like me. He says, by the way, the Spanish guerrillas, some of my favourite Perry sculpts. I've loved painting them.
Thank you.
I have to concur, Anthony. The couple I've got some of the skirmishing figures on my paint desk at the moment, and they are great fun to do.
They're good fun to make because obviously you don't have to worry about being ranked up or anything else, so that you can go a little bit more wild with the poses because of all skirmishing. The cavalry is fun as well to do.
Is there any part of the sculpting process that it's probably a weird thing to say? Because Dom obviously said, well, I think we've asked before. Is there something in particular you do like to do? Is there anything in particular that you dislike doing in the sculpting, such as I don't know, the legs, the arms? Is there anything in particular that you try to get over with as quickly as possible, so you can get on to a more enjoyable part for yourself?
Yeah, weapons. I don't like making weapons, but really? But now somebody else makes them mostly for us digitally, and they're extremely good, very nice because they could do them a lot sharper than we could. So yeah, we have to sort of bow to our to the period to nowadays. A lot of figures looking really good, really sharp digitally. And our weapons were never really, I didn't think, particularly outstanding. So the digital ones are great, crisp and everything. They're brilliant.
Weapons are so difficult, that I would imagine, in terms of getting them scaled right, but not so brittle that then they'll break immediately. You start using them in earnest. So you then make them too big. Yeah. But then they look too big. It's really must be very, very difficult to do that. Yeah,
we've gone through a few stages of getting done in digitally, then go through the process of getting them into production and realizing they're going to be too thin. So I have to get them scaled up just a bit thicker, about another 5%, until you hit the right mark, and then get them done in metal and put them on the figures. But it is a bit of a pain.
That's it. I mean, I'm intrigued with that moulding of digital and physical sculpting. I've never heard of that happening before. I mean, how does that work in practicality? How does the design come together?
Well, normally we make figures in sort of all the weapons, equipment, and everything else first, make the mannequin, and then put the equipment and weapons on them. Yeah, we used to make weapons, but Rob McFarlane has been making our figures for the last 3 years, I think 4 years maybe, and he does a fantastic job. And we just get them made by him. They'll be RP'd and that will go straight onto the rubber mold and cast
right
in metal, and then we got the perfect musket rather than the okay musket.
Love it. That's great. It's interesting because you always hear about there's either digital sculptors or physical sculptures. I don't know. That's the first time I've heard of it being molded together. It makes perfect sense. Really does. Really does.
Yeah, I mean, straight line stuff is. Never used to like doing straight line stuff anyway, which is anything straight line. As a muskets, artillery, wheels, anything like that. So doing it digitally is actually quite fast. Can be quite fast for somebody, and even people who make them, who used to make our guns anyway, our artillery pieces, that would take them some time to do. But artillery pieces done digitally are probably, I'm not sure, but depending on the person, but it's probably about half the time.
Yeah, unbelievable.
And
sorry,
slightly sharper.
Yes, probably, possibly. So I guess it naturally, as you say, the lines and things are much easier to get when you're doing it on a computer than you are with a piece of.
Cool. Yeah. You can't really. Yeah.
Simon's obsessed with your room behind you. So what is that jacket?
It is a York Volunteers. York Volunteer Militia Regiment in 1794. I can bring him closer.
There we go. We got him moving again. That's lovely.
Oops.
That was there, about there.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And wow.
Yeah, that's mid 1790s. But yeah, it's really good neck. The red is, all the colours are very good on it.
That's lovely.
That's fantastic.
They're always they're always small in the shoulders,
yes,
and in the waist. It was a sort of full coatee. There's only one I got, which was actually an officer who was slightly on the large size, even for today, is quite big, but nearly always about 28-inch or 30-inch waist on them, and very narrow-shouldered, and
just like me,
quite small-chested. Yeah, my scales are
Awesome. Actually, that's a really interesting one from Frank's Miniatures again. I see an increasing number of people who do not play war games but love building and painting them as models, like me. Does that influence your work? Interesting, isn't it? I guess the broader question is, do you think beyond, I mean, you obviously do the figures primarily because you want to play with them, don't you? You've said that before more often than not. It's because you're interested in actually getting them on the table. But do you think beyond, about...
In a way, but we do quite a lot of diorama pieces as well, little vignettes and things, which, again, aren't needed on the table, but they're really fun to do. And we've always made, in the past, we always used to make dioramas for ourselves. I think we showed a couple of the larger scale things we'd made before we joined the workshop on here, and so it is in your mind that people would want to just paint them up rather than actually play with them. Yeah, and certain sets are made to aim for that as well.
I was thinking about that. Your or the range of 1812 French retreat figures from Moscow.
Yeah,
they're obviously designed to be almost like a mini diorama, aren't they? Or certainly a skirmish game.
Plenty of people do play them actually as well.
Yeah, we've used them down the club doing an 1812 campaign game. So yeah, they do get used. I know, but they just stand out as that sort of ready set, which you could make a beautiful diorama with. Yes, and Shring says about the Napoleon's sledge. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We'd have to get some. Was it really?
Oh yeah, it's just yeah. We did it in resin, but it's it's a bit of a pain.
Amazing. I'm conscious
done.
we're getting towards the end of the show. Should we do a few viewers' pictures, Martin? I think.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back and give Alan the last 5 minutes or so, and then that'll be.
I can't believe it's gone so quick.
I know it goes by every night, so every Monday so quickly, doesn't it? So, reminder: we'd just like to show some of the pictures of some of people's both battles, work in progress, and some of the figures they've been painting. Members of the Facebook community, links
you can
in
join.
the description.
Yeah.
Along
with all our channels.
All our channels. Please subscribe, link, and all that kind of good stuff.
Hit the like
button. Yeah. All that.
all that jazz.
We're rubbish at all that YouTube stuffy. But anyway, so if you are a member of the Facebook page, continue to post your lovely work up there. We can't show everything, obviously, but we try and show a range of people's work and just show the variety of stuff that's up there. But if you're not on Facebook, then that's absolutely fine. Just email us on the email, which is down in the description as well. So let's have a look at some of them. As I say, this is not everything up there because otherwise we would be here for 5 hours. So this is just a selection. So Andrew showed his American War of Independence collection. I think this was primarily in honor of you, Alan, coming on because he said predominantly these are Perry
Very nice.
Yeah. That's very cool. I am getting a bit distracted by the dead livestock.
Dead cows.
I was going to say, that's great. Yeah.
They've certainly had a volley or two.
That first volley was quite
missed.
Yes, missed all the rebels, but killed a few cows by the look of it. There you go. Simon has been working on his Italian Wars figures.
Oh, cool.
Oh, yeah.
They look good as
Yeah,
well,
nice.
don't they? Really nicely done. Long-term supporter of the channel, Don, had a massive Easter market garden rapid fire
updates of this
campaign this weekend, wasn't it? I think over the Easter weekend.
Yeah.
Which looked amazing. He put up loads and loads of pictures of the game, and it. I don't know what was the final result. I didn't even see what the result was at the end, apart from the fact everybody seemed to be having a great time. But yeah, okay, really, really cool. So check out all Don's pictures and also stuff he does with the rapid fire because he's doing a lot of work with that rule system. Andy showing off some of his Hungarian figures. He showed a whole range of them. I'm not sure that guy in the middle is a Hungarian, but you know, it adds to the scenery, I guess, which is fantastic. Martin, you'll have to help me with Gaz's effort here. I have no idea.
That is a Space Marine. There you go. That's all I know. That's all I know. What do you? It's a Space Marine. It's very cool. I like the art. I like the way he's done the armor. I like the gritty, sort of dirty, sort of less clean look.
Dirty.
It is a Space Marine. So I can't tell you what type. I know someone in the comments. I'm looking down there now and going, please, someone tell me what it is. But it's very cool. I do like it. I do like the paint job. It's very nice.
We needed Ken to tell us that one. Greg is showing off some of his Gurkhas, Perry Gurkhas. Yeah, for the
so Michael's. Yeah,
they look lovely.
Very nice. Yeah.
Really good. No red uniforms, khaki only.
No, there is khaki. Yeah, I know. Yes, Michael has done a bit of khaki.
So I've just got 3 different responses then. Look, it's an infiltrator or an intercessor or a reaver. So great. There we go. I don't know.
Absolutely no idea. It's just weird shit. Okay. James is showing off his Prussian horse artillery.
Yeah.
Which are looking really, really good.
Very nice. Lovely. Yeah.
Doing plenty of Prussians is James at the moment.
He is.
And I love this armor card from Jonas. I mean, that's just awesome.
Just very awesome. Cool.
He does some amazing stuff, Jonas, doesn't he? Jeez. Jonathan, this is his Irish Legion coming along nicely.
Cool. I've seen again a few people doing these recently, doing the Irish.
Yeah. Wasn't it? I think Napoleonic Wargaming Channel did a feature on the Irish. I wonder whether that spurred it into. But I do like that's one of the things I love about the Napoleonic period is all those weird national regiments that just
Yeah.
one or two of them out there. I think it's just that's what fascinates me with that period. Just love it. Paul has been heading to sea with his Japanese fleet for victory at sea. I think that is really nice. I have to confess, when these models first came out, I hated the spare tires. I thought that looked really, really clunky and horrible. But actually, I've got a few of them, and once I painted them up, I really like them. I think they work really well. Those big bases, you can see what the ship is, which helps. And it helps moving them as well, because you've got something to grab hold of rather than grabbing hold of a bit of metal that might break off in your hand. So really cool. They look great. David's been working on some hoplites.
Oh, yes.
These are Crusader miniatures. I do like those. Really, really fine work. Yes, actually really nice. And Paul has been into the Zulu Wars with his Gatling gun.
Yeah, I've got one of those to paint up. I boxed it up yesterday into storage, but I've got mine to do as well at some point.
Warren and some of his AB miniatures. These are the medics for his American forces. I mean, for the scale, that is well, any kind of scale, that's extraordinary painting, but that is amazing.
Do we decide what is 20 mil? No,
they're smaller, aren't they? ABs, 18, are they? Something like that. Someone will tell us in the chat. Can't remember. But lovely, really, really nice. Now another weird one. I have no idea what this is, so people can confuse you, Martin, in the chat with.
Okay, I'll try. That I know that. I actually know what that is. Do you want to tell you?
Go on then.
That is 30k miniature. That's the Primarch Corvus Corax killing a World Eater. It's very cool. There you go. You didn't think I was going to know, did you? So nope. There we go. I do know that one. It's because I like the novels that he's the based around him. So yeah, that's very, very cool. I do like that. That's one of the big. Model, isn't it? I think that's one of the big Forge World ones.
That's Stig again.
Very nice.
Work. And Stephen showing off this these mules, which I thought was great.
There's been a lot of mules as well.
There has been a lot of mules.
There's a lot of mules. The mule train is getting a lot of love at the minute.
Really good. Oh, apparently ABs are 20 mil. I was wrong. There you go. Somebody always will correct us in the chat. John showing off his fighting cocks, shall we say. I mean, that is lovely. Really nicely done. Again, nice basing. I like that sort of really arid looking basing. And finally, for now, we talked about a bit of weird shit earlier on. Thomas has come full turnip with this.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
I mean,
wow.
Just extra. I love the fact he's put a little star on the little.
Yeah, I just noticed that. And on the one on the right as well.
Look at
the flag. The boat. The
it's just
the Mona. I just realised it's the Mona Lisa with the
with the beak.
I mean,
I just
see when you
just extraordinary. There you go.
But it all hangs together, doesn't it? Because of the painting.
It does.
It reminds me of John Blanche. It's the sort of that sort of aesthetic. That is. Someone's just said they've got flag envy.
Flag envy. Yeah. I mean, just extraordinary stuff. So there you go. That was a selection of the community artwork, which just shows the sheer variety of different paint projects that people are working on. And just the sheer quality of some of the work that people are doing is just.
And we're getting close to 1,000 members now.
We are very, very close
on the group. Considering that they've got to go through your questions free, we're getting closer.
I get such a hard time for. You shall not pass unless you get those questions right. That's how it works. Otherwise, we get we get all kinds of spammers and hooligans. I'll tell you. Has Alan ever turnip to figure? Alan's got far more respect with his figures than to turnip something.
Well, I would have done it if I knew about it in my early days, probably.
I just say
at the moment.
we just had a request to join the group, and one of Dom's question is, what scale do you play the most? And their answer is 28mm because it's God's scale.
Let that man in. Let him in.
I've let him in.
Just let him in. That'll do. Don't have to answer the rest of the questions. Oh dear. What else have we got here? I'm conscious of time, so we're just run through a few more questions. I think most of these we've covered off in various forms through the talk. So here we go. Any chance of allied hussar set for Russians and Prussians?
I'll have to think about it. I think as far as I remember, the saddlery was different, I think, but maybe it wasn't. I can't remember offhand. Okay. I'll have to think about that one.
Because the actual hussar uniforms are probably very similar, aren't they? But the rest of it might not be.
They were similar. Sometimes they had 5 rows, sometimes they had 3 rows of buttons. Some armies had some the other, but you'd have to look into it because you couldn't have one and not the other. Really. So,
no,
that sort of thing. Yeah, I'll have a look, but possibility in the future sometime, maybe.
There we go. There we go. We've got a lot of on the future list coming out here tonight. I hope everyone's making notes because we'll be.
They will be.
Next time you're on, Alan, we'll be saying, "What happened to this? You said you were going to do this.
Yeah,
so never appeared.
You said you're going to do. You promised.
Yeah, exactly. You confirmed it was happening. A lot of interest around the samurai wars. So String asked the question, what rules do you use for the samurai wars yourselves?
Well, actually, we use, I think last time we used Hail Caesar, actually. Yeah, Hail Caesar. And just tweaked the arquebus really up to, so you get a -1 when rolling for saving. And more or less, and then sort of adapting the samurai into the into quite hard hitting, and obviously Ashikaru into less hitting, less armored. It's quite easy to do actually. It's not you can do the Hail Caesar no problem.
That's one of the great things about that system, though.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, because we obviously done it with the Wars of the Roses and everything as well before the latest version came out. Is it's so adaptable, and if you want, and even if you're using those bases, you want to tweak, you want to make a unit, I don't know, quivering with fear at the start of the game. You can just give them the wavering rule, which I tend to do. I've noticed the things, it's a great. We still got to have our game, Dom. Our Wars of the Roses
we do.
Game. You've got the arch traitor, and I need to beat.
Yeah, you need to try and kill him, and you're not going to. No, you're not going to.
But to be fair, I've got Warwick. Warwick isn't exactly known for.
I was going to say, when you're talking about the War of the Roses and you're talking about traitors, I think there were quite a few. I think, I don't think you need to. There's no exclusivity on traitoring, if that makes sense. Anthony is asking, will the Perrys revisit the Samurai range and add some more commanders?
Again, it's one of those I might well do. I was going to be in the right mood. The samurai. It's quite
involved as a figure, isn't it? I would imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah. I mean, I haven't got any of the old mannequins around. There are somewhere, but I'd have to have a look in the garage for them. So I'd have to make new mannequins and everything else. So I don't know. Maybe.
Another one on the maybe list, folks. There you go. Another one on the maybe things. There's a lot of interest around samurai. So I just think, I think it's just, again, it's colourful. It's a very cinematic type period, and but people love it. I always swore I'd never paint any, and then I went and painted about 150 of them, just to prove that I couldn't paint them. So they're not as scary as you think.
What started me making the range was actually playing Shogun Total War. Weirdly,
really?
I just got into that. So, actually, I think I'll make a range of these. I was playing Shogun Total War.
So I love the fact that you go down a rabbit hole watching or playing a game, and you end up making a range of figures and making money out of it. I go down a rabbit hole. It ends up costing me an absolute fortune.
But then Alan makes the money.
That Alan and Michael make. Hey, you go figure. Right. I'm conscious we are pretty much at time, and I don't want to keep Alan any longer than he's already given us tonight. So he's been very generous with his time once again.
No, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming on. Much appreciated.
Thanks for having me.
Definitely open invite to come to CrackCon when we can hold it on the day that isn't one of the days where you can't come, and open invite to come along on the stream whenever you or Michael are free. We would love to have you back on again. So, brilliant.
Thank you very much for having me.
Very welcome. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Thanks to everybody watching on Catch Up. Thanks for all the questions. As we said earlier, make sure you subscribe, click like, and all that kind of good stuff.
We're not on next week because again, recovering.
We're trying to remove Ken from
existence.
Timelines.
No, we won't be on this week, and then the week after. It's you again.
It's me again. Somehow it's fallen back to me again.
But I won't be there because that is moving day.
You're moving,
and I've forgotten what you're doing. Oh, that's it. What do you want in a trade show? Because it's the one after Salute. So
it is. So we'll talk a bit about Salute, and I'll talk a bit about Salute because I'll be there. And we'll see what everyone thinks about that. So anyway,
it'd just be you go through your bag.
Do you know? I'm just thinking if you're not there and Ken's not there, it's just going to be me and Steve. And Steve doesn't understand what going out means because it means public. Anyway, never mind. Thank you very much for everyone watching, and we will see you in 2 weeks' time on my channel. And thanks again to Alan for coming on tonight. Much appreciated. Brilliant. Stay safe, everyone. Have a really good couple of weeks, and we'll see you then.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.